Okay, I don't know why I am singing. Good morning, everyone. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and welcome to the August 2020 ChemKnits Dialogue live stream. This month, we are going to dye some yarn inspired by these gorgeous, gorgeous hydrangeas. Now, as soon as I saw these flowers in person, see, there I am with the flowers. I knew that I wanted to dye some yarn inspired from them. They were just asking to pick on yarn. Now, I actually didn't prepare this to pull it up, but if you take a look at my logo, the colors are very, very similar. Oh, I should have grabbed my mug or something. But these pinks and purples and blues, especially this sort of gradient, is something that I consider my signature, the Broken Violet Special. And so let's have some fun with some violet today. I'm feeling like we're going to be a little bit old school. Now, normally I pick these dye-along inspiration photos with the intent of challenging myself color-wise. And I still want to challenge myself a little bit with maybe some different bases and things like that today. I've got some things that I'll pop into pre-soak in a moment, but some of the stuff will dip dye, some I've got some violet sugar sprinkles. What happened? Oh, all of a sudden I saw an error. Okay, hopefully things are working. Yeah, we'll play with some violet sugar sprinkles left over from a recent episode. Maybe mix some Color Right purples in there as well, because it's just a little easier to mix. So that is the general plan. Now, this is a dye-along, so I am inviting all of you to create your own colorways inspired by this inspiration photo at home. So you can dye along with me and then share the yarn that you dye inspired by this photo on Instagram with the hashtag ChemKnitsDyeAlong, or look for this photo on the ChemKnits Facebook page, the public ChemKnits Facebook page, and reply with a photo comment of the yarn that you've dyed. And I also accept in progress photos of the dyeing. You don't have to use food coloring. You don't even have to break purple. You could use any type of dye. You could blend fibers. There should be some amount of dyeing involved, but really it is just the way that this sort of hits you. And you can go as literal or as abstract with it as you would like. But yeah, when I saw these were at my mother-in-law's house, and these hydrangeas were in the shade. And so they were a bit underneath the deck. So I guess a lot of hydrangeas start this color, but if they're exposed to the sun, they get a little bit bleached, which is where you often see the more pastel pink and blue colors that are still really pretty, but the vibrancy here was just, amazing. So, and I'm now going to check the chat. Happy August, everyone. Yes, I'm very excited today. Yeah, so I have the kitchen to myself for a few hours. Yes, Wednesdays are typically my filming day, although that might change in the fall because we'll try to shift my filming day to maybe like a in-person school day. If there's school, I don't know. But yeah, okay. I am now curious because it says YouTube. It's showing up this error. Open widget. I want that to go away. How do I get live? Check this out. In-person school day? Okay, I guess it's working. Fine. Analytics. Awesome. Okay, so the deepness of color also has some. Oh my gosh, did it freeze? Oh, did I pause it? What did I do? The deepness of color definitely has something to do with the strain as well, but I can say from the one strain at my in-laws, there was, based on, you could see this like potency based on the amount of shade that they received, which I thought was really cool. Don't forget pops of green is the acid in the soil. Oh, interesting. The acid in the soil dictates the color as well. It makes sense that there's many, many factors, but there's no question that the amount of sunlight, even within, there are some they have a lot of hydrangeas at the house. There's some bushes that have these saturated colors, like on the shady side, and then the sunny side they're more bleached. And so I thought that was really, really cool. But that's funny that it's pH. Yeah, it does. I mean, it really seemed like there was a sunlight thing. But yes, okay. I'm sure that there are soils, and I was also going off of what my mother-in-law said. Why am I getting so much? Okay, but we are going to play with many things today. I've got some Knit Picks sock blanks, and I'm actually going to make this smaller, even though there's nothing on my counter yet. So I've got some sock blanks that we are going to do, and I've got some other skeins that I thought it would be fun to try. So I've got this one. I'll make myself bigger. Become huge. Okay, I've got some of this yarn, which is a really interesting yarn. This was a special reserve from Knit Picks. It's called Japanese Glitter, and the yarn is acrylic, nylon, and polyester. The nylon should pick up some color. The rest probably won't, but I thought it would be fun to try. And so I do want to make sure I take like a little video, some B-roll or something of that. I've got some twill, some superwash merino twist. This is just superwash merino, but it's so high twist. I thought it would be fun to potentially dip dye or play in various ways. Oh, I have this superwash slub. It's a merino nylon yarn from Wool to Die For that maybe we would do with some kind of immersion technique. But all of this, like, ultimately we'll see. It depends a little bit on time and how things go. I always like to have more yarn ready to go. I've got some Bear Hair, which is Angora, 20% Angora, 80% wool. It's not superwash. pH will determine how well it absorbs the iron, so it's a combo. Science is fun. Yeah, garden science is definitely fun. Like, well, this year I didn't pick my tomato plants myself. This year I haven't been watering them, so my tomatoes didn't do well. Historically, my tomatoes get to be like 6 feet tall. But this year I mail ordered the plants, and so they weren't as good. But I can't grow basil in the same garden at all. But the tomatoes, like, I end up with bushels, and we can and stuff normally. But it's ironic that the year that everyone's gardening, I had less time to garden. I've got, I don't know if I'll actually use these. I've got some like silk blends. What are you? Oh, I've got a merino cotton blend. So we know the cotton wouldn't take up much color. It might just see some staining, but the wool might, and this is a 50-50 wool cotton. So these are just some fun bases. But I think what I'm going to do first is hide my face. Hide that. Where's my face? And I will also show you. Nope. Okay, yes, it went black. There's the other camera. So I do have the stove ready to go. I was like, too many cameras. How quickly does Angora pick up dye, say, compared to wool, silk, or alpaca? I can't say with the Angora compared to like silk or alpaca. In general, I have found that wool, especially superwash wool, absorbs dye the fastest. After that, like blends that have alpaca, silk, Angora, other animal fibers tend to just be slower and need more acid and time overall. Even more so than just non-superwash wool, but it depends. Okay, and so I'm gonna have to go and pre-soak. I need some food coloring. Zip ties. So, to start off, all of the tools and equipment that I'm going to use today are going to be food safe. We will be using Wilton's Violet icing color. We will be using some Colorite colors. This is all food coloring, so I'm comfortable using cooking pots and pans. Eventually, I might transition to, say, using some of my more catering steam pans and things like that. And at that point, then I might, then things won't be food safe. But I'm going to start with everything super food safe and then transition. So normally I don't bring out my DSLR for any of the live streams, but I realized since a lot of these things, oh, and the memory card's almost out. Why? Oh, it's on camera. I realized that since I don't have, say, more of some of these blends, I want to get some B-roll of the yarn. And I'm just taking some short clips. Okay, so that one, this one, this is our superwash slub. Okay, this I have more of. I might have another bare hair, but let's do just, I don't usually do this, but this way I can have a little bit of B-roll for when I do the recap if I need it. And yeah, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Because I know I have more quill, but I want the lens cap. Okay, so now I have no idea if this Japanese glitter yarn, it was a special reserve from last big sale. So last November, I have no idea if there is any more of it left. Let's do, I don't think I have any scroll down here, but if I conceivably will dip dye a stroll as well during this stream or something, something that we know more how it behaves, but actually I suppose the twill should behave pretty normally, should be fairly like what we're used to. So there is that. But yeah, I was like, I buy all these random yarn bases and then I hesitate to use them. And so I thought it would be fun if I am going to go with a dye that I am super used to. I may as well go for some yarn that I am not used to. So if you want to learn more, this video isn't sponsored by anyone. If you want to learn more about any of the yarn bases, I don't have a lot of them in the video description at this time. I believe I have affiliate links to Dyer Supplier, which I don't think I'm actually using any Dyer Supplier yarn right now. Maybe I'll go add a Dyer Supplier base I haven't tried before. I have affiliate links to Knit Picks and Dyer Supplier in the video description. I don't think I've put a link to Wool to Dye For down there. I don't have an affiliate link, but it's, if you search for Wool to Dye For, you can find the website. But I do have like the zip ties and the Colorite food coloring and lots of other stuff I use. Affiliate links mean I do earn commission, but you're not obviously not obligated to use them. Dharma lilac breaks. Oh, cool. Yeah, there's a bunch of people from Australia. Where's my box? from, sorry, since I mentioned them, to bring a dye supplier. This is their silvery sock. You can see how glittery it is. I think it's 20% stellina, 10% nylon, and then 70% superwash merino, but I could be wrong about the proportions. But it has like a gray cast because there's so much stellina in it. And I'm going to take all of this and pre-soak it into some plain tap water. And I'm not going to be doing the exact same technique on all of these bases, but we'll be playing with purples and breaking purples in various ways. Okay. Okay, put those into soak. And let me get here are my Wilton Violet sprinkles, and it is a little, this has been sitting open. Oh, I was gonna say it's like matted down, but actually it didn't crust. But I don't want to touch it with my fingers yet because, yeah, but we'll use this. I haven't decided. I think it depends on the color for when we do some of the dip dyeing, but we're going to start with dip dyeing a blank, and then maybe we will hand paint a blank. I'm still deciding a little bit, but we will somewhat make it up as we go along. All right, I'm going to get some warm tap water. Sorry, I'm looking for my measuring spoon. Which, of course, I'm only finding the measuring spoons that are, like, I don't think that this one fits in the tub, but we will see. Okay. I am going to start in 1 cup of warm tap water. And my hands are probably going to get really dirty. I'm going to have 1 whole teaspoon, if I can get it, approximately. This isn't completely full, but it's pretty good. And we're going to start dissolving it in here. The downside to Wilton's Violet, oh, the hot water helps a lot. The downside to the icing color is it can be hard to dissolve. Warm tap water helps a lot. Helps a lot. Okay, and then I'm going to get a 1/2 cup of warm tap water. So a proportion that I like for violet is about a 1/2 teaspoon of the icing color and then I usually dissolve in about 1/2 cup of water just because that's a proportion I like, but I often will use a 1/2 teaspoon of these icing colors. And can I fit you in here? Not really. That is annoying. Okay, well, you'll go in there anyway. The proportion that I like is a 1/2 teaspoon in a 1/2 teaspoon of the dye per 100 grams. Gives a super, super vibrant color. So I've got a 1/4 teaspoon in here so far, trying to get the color off of the spoon so I can add some more. Okay, got most of it off. Okay, there we go. A lot of times I won't go back in the containers, but today I am. All right, and I'll want to make sure things are really well stirred up. So why, when I say colors breaking, what do I mean for people who may be new to this? And I have no idea if you guys will be able to read this, but purple food coloring contains red number 3 and blue number 1. And those are the two artificial food coloring molecules that take the, and I'll sit down while I'm going to do this. Those are the two food coloring molecules that have the biggest difference in the rates that they absorb to a wool-based yarn. So red 3 will strike really quickly with almost no acid, especially if your tap water is slightly acidic like mine. And blue number 1 takes hello, hello. Okay, no, there's 2. Hello. Okay, that seems to be working again. Let me get the video back. I think. Oh no, I didn't end it. Oh no. Okay. It looked like I had ended the stream from the way that it was. Uh, okay. Nope. Okay. There we go. Add that back. Oh, there we go. Okay. I think that we're back. I will check. Okay. Nope. Yes. So it is back. It was not a mute function or something. It was just the webcam that is my mic. It froze. So that's why that went away. It wasn't like a setting I did. I had to just completely reset the camera. So that's where that was. But like, you know, I saw the chat like streaming and I was like, oh, I'll finish this and then check. And then I was like, oh no, no sound. Okay, I'll back up to talk about color breaking. So if you have red 3 and blue 1, the red 3 strikes super, super fast, and the blue 1 takes more heat, time, and acid. These are artificial food coloring molecules, and so we can break them apart through dip dyeing because the reds will start striking, the blues need more time, so the blues will go all over, and the reds will just go on one side. And so it's a lot of fun, and that's what my logo and everything is based on. And it's sort of perfect for our inspiration photo today. Now, this will only work on protein-based yarns. It works the best on superwash wool. It works great on non-superwash wool. It can work well on blends and like non-blends with like silk, alpaca, mohair, angora, things like that. But it won't work on cellulose fibers like cotton and linen. You might see a tiny bit of staining, but most of the color will rinse out. And it will not work on, gosh, have I done this on Galileo yet? Anyway, and it also won't work on synthetics. But the exception to that is nylon. Nylon is a synthetic, but it's a polyamide, which has a similar chemical makeup to the backbones of the proteins, the protein-based fibers. So nylon, which you can see on my nylon zip ties, those definitely absorb color over time, and it doesn't come out because they don't tend to stain the yarn. So yes, so that was just me rewinding. So the molecules bind at different rates, and that's the whole concept behind the breaking. But let's go dip dye. And I am going to put that away, and we're going to go to the stove. So when I'm over at the stove, I can't really see the chat, but spam the chat if the sound goes out again, and hopefully I'll notice. All right, I've been heating this up. This is 12 cups. Yes, it started as 12 cups of water. And tape. I'm going to add some vinegar. And I'm going to heat up the one in back more. So the front pot has 12 cups of water. I am going to add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar for starting. The back pot has 8 cups of water. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. And we will be dip dyeing into each of those. But the difference is that in this first one, I'm going to attempt to dip dye. Okay. I'm going to attempt to dip dye, and I can't decide if I want to do 2 or 3 blanks. So then, I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know if 3 will fit well in the pot, but I kind of want to try it because I've never tried that before. You still have to use the dye yarn from Knit Crate. Not using the Kool-Aid though. We wanted to taste it since we don't get it here in Australia. That is awesome. That is really, really awesome. Okay. I think so I'm waiting for this to sort of get to a simmer. As I drink something. Now, what is a sock blank? In case people are curious. A sock blank is a pre-knit piece of fabric that is created with the intent to unravel it and turn it into something else. So, and I'll open up this dry one here, which you guys can't see because it's on the wrong camera. Oh gee, here we go. So here is a sock blank. And these double-stranded ones have 2 skeins of Knit Pick Stroll fingering weight yarn knit together. So when you unravel it, you can get matched socks. So even if if I'm dip dyeing 3 blanks, they might each be slightly different, but when you unravel it, the transitions would happen at the same parts in the skein within one of the blanks. Go for 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, go for it. You got the yarn. We know the colorway is popular. Go for it. So the perk of when I do blanks, if I do multiple, is then I can unravel one to share. Or I can unravel one to share, and then I have the rest to just, and then I can leave some unraveled. Because I get, I like unraveling blanks for science. But if I create, say, a beautiful stenciled blank or a beautiful hand-painted colorway, sometimes you want to see, like, that has some magic in it. So that's what I want to, like, list in the shop. Because then you can also, just like the way I don't like rescanning yarn, I feel similarly about blanks. I like unraveling blanks because it gives me a sense of how it might knit up when I unravel them on a nitty knotty, and you can see the progression. But when I unravel them, say, on my skein winder, I get a little sense of the progression, but it's functionally reskeined. And personally, I can visualize what the yarn will look like from the blanks themselves. So the blanks just pre-soaked in plain tap water, probably for about 30 minutes. I am squeezing out most of the liquid. I think the leftover sprinkles I want to use on a blank. I'm half tempted to use it on a dip dyed blank, but I don't know how well they'd show up. So I might dip dye a blank in like another color and then use those sprinkles. Maybe we'll do something that unique and have like a little bit of green, because I'm mostly not planning on playing with the green that's in the pictures, but I want to do at least 1 or 2 colorways with green because I know people will I know people want it. And I mean, I love green. Green is one of my favorite colors in the world. So, okay, I'm bringing over a step stool so that way I don't have to get my arms that tired. I'm going to wear gloves so I don't stain myself. And you're curious about dyeing a wet blank versus a dry blank. I think I've dyed dry blanks before, but where I need a piece of paper to write that down as a suggestion, because that's something I could do sometime. Okay. What? I have been filming up a storm recently because the fall might be so intense, it might be hard for me to film. So there might be, for the rest of 2020, a lot of August content. Green and purples, yes. No, greens and purples look so good together. Okay. So when I'm doing this, I'm trying to open the blanks up. I don't really want them rolled up. Because I'm trying to remove resist, and I'm going to have them approximately together. Oh, this is going to be heavy. I don't think, I'm going to have my tongs ready. I don't think I've dip dyed 300 grams together. I think 2 is typically my limit, but we'll see. All right. I'm coming in with the 1 full teaspoon of Wilton's Violet. And now I'm coming in up on my step stool. I always want to try to start dipping as soon as possible. These are not all going to be equivalent, not by a long shot. But I want the dip dyeing to start as soon as possible because the red 3s can start crashing out of solution, and I want to avoid that as much as possible. Now, the thing that I will add here, and I am using my tongs, which maybe you can't see, to try to help I'm trying to move over so I can show that better. You can see it getting more and more blue, but the thing with blanks is that they have a bit less surface area in here. And so I don't want the blues to start to bind too quickly, which is why I have a little bit less acid than I might normally start with. You can see that we're turning more blue already, but there are still, if I remove it, I don't know how well you guys can see, there's still definitely pinks in there. So I'm trying to just slowly go. And as I lift it up, the blues sort of drain out because they're not really striking yet. It's a lot harder to do 3 blanks than 1. Let me tell you that. But I think we will be able to capture the bright blues in here. And there's always a chance that I'm going to go too fast, but I think we're okay to go in with these bright blues down here at the end. And the reason why I am moving the yarn, and the pot's a little crowded, but the reason why I'm moving the yarn is so that, sorry, I'm having a brain fart. The reason why I'm moving the yarn is just so that way the dye can access more of it. And I'm actually going to come in right now. I'm not even going to wait. I'm going to add 2 more tablespoons of white vinegar. And I specifically place this more over the blue section to just help that color go in. But how is that for the magic that is Broken Violet? Now, there's a tiny bit of dye left in the cup. I will be sort of saving the leftover color as we go today, so that way we can play with it later. And I have a little bit of blue that I splashed everywhere from this. Oh, that is not what I wanted. I'm going to reduce the heat. We'll check back in that in about 10 minutes. And actually, okay, that's not that hot. Actually, what we're going to do, okay, that is a little hot, but I did not burn myself. But we're going to do a little bit of magic, so that way I can easily dip dye over here versus, you know, what we have in the back. And I'll show my, for comparison, I think I'll do the twill next. And then, gosh, so part of me, and I'm not sure how well they'll show up, part of me wants to take those violet sprinkles and on one of these on that blue end, add that little like burst of color down there on just one of them. But the other part of me wants to take a white blank. All right, I'm gonna come and give you guys 3. I keep changing my mind. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys 3 options for, oh, the colors are horrible. Oh, that is awful. Okay, let me fix this. Whoa, the color balance. That is, no. White balance. I suppose that's a bit better. The purples do not come through well. This is a bit better. It looks all blue. The colors are on the stove are not good. It's absolutely violet. It's the, let me see, I'm going to try fixing it more. The problem is that camera control. So, because if I default white balance, it doesn't tell me what that number is. I have to like add more yellow in. Oh, move that back up. Just trying to move my face. That's, yeah, so the colors are not coming through. Let me take a picture and upload it to my Instagram stories. The color is, it's like the broken violet that you're used to. It looks, oh, there's too much steam. I'm going to reduce you. Okay, this is going to be a poor way to do it as well, but I'm going to upload this to my Instagram stories right now. The webcams really, really, really hate purples. Really hate purples and reds. And no, come on, rotate. No, I don't want the filter. There we go. I just uploaded it to my Instagram stories, and I will come in. Where's my camera? It's still not like this camera, the colors aren't very good too, but we've got like, this is almost like a turquoise, and then that is a pink. The colors are coming through like crap. Yes. No, so yes, so it leaves the blue at the end because the reds strike faster, but it was looking just like I used a blue on camera when and what's unfortunate is I wish I could have this photo. Actually, maybe I can do this. How can I do this? Oh no, that'll make the screen go to hell if I try to do that. Because I was like, oh, maybe I can somehow download it and to upload into here. Oh, thank you. Let me just try. I'm gonna try to share this with myself because my Dropbox is full. Otherwise, it would auto come in to Rebecca. And so I'm going to try to upload the picture into here right now. Oh, that's why I don't see it. Okay, so it might lag a little bit as I download the picture. So sorry, but I think you guys deserve to see. Download ChemKnits dialogue. Today is August 2020. There we go. And then I can add an image. Browse. Why won't you? There we go. This is what it, oh my, it's huge. Okay, hold on. That's what it looks like. But I don't know why it's so huge. Oh dear. The other images weren't so huge when I won't let me resize it. Transform. Hit the screen. Okay. Oh. And now will you let me resize you? There we go. Okay, so see the difference? This is what I actually see in the pot versus this is what the webcam shows you. And these are like well-rated webcams. Part of it is right now where it is, there's like the light is not great, but part of it is also just that in general, these webcams don't pick up the purple very well. So I hope that that helps. So yes, and I'm glad that I have imported one photo so that way we can show as things go on. But yeah, that is really, really frustrating. And I can turn off my camera and then I can turn up the heat over here as well, and we can dye another one. which I have no idea if the colors will end up looking better. I hope they will. So I will say that for these blanks, we have an equivalent of a third of a teaspoon per 100 grams. So a little bit less than what is my like standard. Now I have not actually taken this twill. It's the Bear Superwash Merino Twist. I have not used this one with Broken Violet yet, but we are about to. It is a high twist yarn. I think there's only, it's only 149 yards per 100 grams, which just shows how much that twist is. Other worsted weight yarn is often around like 220 yards per 100 grams. So just so funny how, okay, so how's my glove looking? Maybe I want to up the brightness too. The problem with redoing the webcams is that then some of these settings are weird. Okay. Love those colors. Yeah, so I could definitely play. I don't have a ton of speckle of the sprinkles, but I think that we could do something with like mostly white with them. Oh, I got distracted. Okay, I was gonna have you guys vote, but I got distracted by the tech issues. Okay, so the three choices. Option 1, a white blank with the violet speckles on it and a bit of a gradient formation. 2, we add the speckles to one of these blanks that are already broken violet, so it'll be like more broken violet, unbroken violet. But the sprinkles may not show up very well, so that is our caveat. And then 3, I dye a new blank, a pastel, say like a pastel blue base, or dip part of it maybe into a green, and then add the violet speckles. So 1 is white, 2, dip dyed broken violet, 3, other base color for these sprinkles. Okay, that was our 10 minutes. I will deal with the blanks in a second, but first let's dip dye this twill, which is, so that I'm going to have a half a teaspoon of the Wilton's Violet food coloring. It's dissolved in half a cup of water. We have 1 tablespoon of white vinegar in here, and hopefully, I don't know if you can tell how bright pink that is. I'm a little far from the monitor, so I can't see what you guys are seeing. But it is a very, like, right now it's sort of deepening and getting more and more purple. I'm going to have to try a little harder on here to capture the blues. So as I dip in, I can see the little blue halo wicking up. But on a superwash yarn, some of these blues will sort of wait. They'll start striking a little sooner, and I've gone a little bit fast to get that bright blue. The thing that I usually wait for is to see a completely blue runoff. But the other thing is when you dip it in, I want to be able to dip it in, and when I pull it out, I want to see almost no pink. Okay, and so I may have not done the best. I've gone in a little fast. And the bright blue, we definitely see that blue in there, but it's possible that there's going to be some pinks in there as well. So this is not, I went a little fast, which I'm going to add some more vinegar. Again, mostly over the blue end, so it'll soak in as much of it as it can. But, ooh, that's so pretty. And I have a feeling that it may not show. Oh, I don't know why I was standing on the stool for that one. This time that may have worked against me a little bit. But, oh my gosh, the pot looks so dark. Ah, I hate it. I hate it. I mean, to be fair, in person, the pot looks dark, but I think part, like where I stand, I block some of the light. This is the reason why I always do recaps after the fact for my live streams. It's because you can't see the colors necessarily in all their glory. Something usually doesn't come through well enough. I would love to redesign my filming setup. So one thing I'm seeing here is I'm starting to see a little bit of crocking around the edge. Oof, but this actually worked great. We've got the bright blue and we've got more of the purple, pink, and then here, is there color? Okay, basically all of the color has absorbed here in this pot back here. So I am going to make sure you leave your, how am I going to do this? Make sure you leave your votes. For 1 was white, 2 was broken violet, and this is heavy. And then 3 was a new color. Let's come to the other camera. OG video. Here we go. Okay, so even here, this is really, really pink. Let me see if I can fix this one. Fix the balance. It's some like those pinks. See, that's way too yellow. Yeah, it's just wherever I go, I don't see a good, I don't have a way on here to add and up the reds, unfortunately. Okay, so 3. I am seeing mostly 3s. Okay. Yeah, so I'm definitely curious about speckles on the blue end, but it looks like most people want 3. Yes, it seems to be 3 is the winner. So, nope, that's my picture. Here we go. Okay, so 3 is the winner. So I'm going to dye. I've got a 4th blank already soaked. What color do I want to dye it? Do you want me to dip dye it in a little bit of green, so we have a little bit of a green end? Do you want me to dip dye it in a pale blue? I think those are the 2, or like just sort of, I might plop it in a way so we get sort of like mottled color on the backdrop, which maybe I could do with like a light green as well. So would you prefer like a light green or a light blue? So, yeah, vote. OG video. That is that. That is that. I'll move me over here. Nope, wrong thing. Where is... It's like I click on my face and then, but it still has the thing behind it selected. This is so pretty. This is so good on the high twist. I love, love, love it. And in one of our cups, we'll use the same pot that's up in the back for it. So, okay, so green, green. Well, I'm using food coloring right now instead of acid dyes, but otherwise avocado would be really beautiful. So blue, green, blue. It's pretty well split. Okay, so let's see, green, 3, 5. Let's see, 6, 1, 2, 7, 3, 8. Okay, I think green is actually winning. Yeah, avocado would be beautiful for sure. Let me pull the Inspiration photo back up. So the inspiration photo actually has very little of the branches in the green, but we have some pops like here in one of the images. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do some green, but I think I'm gonna do fairly pale. It's not gonna be the most pastel, but this is how we're gonna do it. I am not gonna mix the colors outside of the pot. I am going to do, that doesn't have, okay. I am going to do 2 drops of color white yellow. One drop of blue. Stir this up. And I think, we're definitely still hot, but unfortunately it's a little bit in a dark corner. I used to have a light up here on the microwave, and it is not actually burnt out, but it is broken. It will randomly turn itself on sometimes. And then I can turn it off, but I can't turn it on. Yeah, when I want to. Okay, so here is our like leafy green color. It is very, very 3-drop. Colorite is very pigmented, but 3 drops is not very much for 100 grams. For 100 grams, I typically would like closer to like 15 drops or something. So what I'm going to do now is, instead of dip dyeing the blank, I am going to switch the camera so you guys can see how I'm going to set this up. Okay, so I'm going to take our blank and I am going to sort of scrunch it up like this. I'm not going to like add any ties or something, but I'm going to plop it in the pot like that, poke it down, and then not move it. That is my plan. And so that should give us some like variation in here. And now I don't know if I'll do the sprinkles as more of a gradient, or we'll see what our canvas looks like. But, okay, I'm on the right camera. There we go. Pop it in. So there will be some brighter greens and then some less bright greens in here. Pretty random throughout. And so that will be our base for those sprinkles. And let me take this friend out. Our water has cleared completely, and this is a beautiful classic example of broken violet. Hot, near perfect. I've got the pinks, I've got the purples, and the blue, none of which are showing up that well. And over here, so what is not coming through is the brightness and then the reddish hue on here. Like, as I said, this feels magenta. And I'm not going to try to import it into the video again, but just to remind everyone, that is a little more what the colors look like. And I'm going to post on Instagram what this looks like. So you guys can see. Which I wish that I had a better way to do this. There we go. So that is more true. Hello. Oh, there's so many good ideas. So Yeah, and this started with 12 cups of, oh, I'm on the wrong camera. The green that we've got going on right now started as, there we go. It started as, so there's still a ton of pigment in 3 drops of that food coloring. But this started as 12 cups of water, and there are currently 3 tablespoons of vinegar in there. This water I am going to change because I want to start over. I'm not going to rinse out the pot per se, but I want to start with lowish acid again because I do want to dip dye in that synthetic skein. Because we know nylon absorbs food coloring. So we've got 8 cups of water. One tablespoon of white vinegar. I always have plans to do so much in these live streams, but then we start running out of time. I miss school. Oh gee. Okay, so here you can even see this tie started with a little bit of red down there, but this is 100% nylon, and it picked up some of the blues and some of the purples. So will a yarn that is not the one, will a yarn that is 44% nylon, but then otherwise acrylic and polyester, will it pick up any violet? And these are probably, yeah, these are too hot for me to play with. But we've got a lot of pretty color in there. All right, I'm going to move these. The one caution that I will give with violet is that it is not very light fast. It is extremely, it's very wash fast, but it will fade in direct sunlight. Okay, so there's that. And then how many grams are in this guy? 40 grams. So how much violet do I want? I don't think I want a lot because I have a feeling that the color won't do much. Let's do an eighth of a teaspoon. Where is my half? There's my half cup. I'm waiting for the water to heat up. An eighth of a teaspoon is still a lot of pigment. So in I'm writing down conditions so I don't forget. Okay, so for the Japanese, what's it called? Japanese glitter. So Muse, and they have, Knit Picks got a new mill in Japan last year. And so the Muse hand painted is a beautiful line that they've created down there. The one thing I don't like is the Muse sock yarn. It is also 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's a lot more expensive than, say, Stroll. And I would say that their yarn is only worth it if you want to dye something to coordinate with one of the Muse bases. So you want to have it milled from the same place. otherwise, like, it's not like, oh, there wasn't anything about it that made me scream like, oh, this is the most amazing 75-25 I've ever seen. There was nothing wrong with it, but cost-wise, I wouldn't pick it. Okay. You're heating up. I didn't set a timer, but are looking relatively clear. The green is going to be nice and mottled. Okay, the back one, I am going to actually turn off the heat, and I'm going to go ahead and remove it now. I was initially inclined to let it sit in the pot longer, but since I want to dye it again before the end of the stream, I am going, oh, wrong. Sorry, everyone. Okay, so with the green, I had just checked. There's basically no color in here, but I am going to remove it now because I need it to cool so that way I can lay it on the counter and handle it. So I'm trying to remove as much of the liquid as possible so that way it can cool out. But let's come over here. Okay, and it is very, very subtle, but the color is not even, which is fun. It is like there's light and yeah, there is a lot of variation. Super subtle, but it's sort of like a nice green backdrop, and then I think I'll do a violet sprinkle gradient on it, but we want you to cool as fast as you will. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay. I know. I'm always like, ooh, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this in Violet, and it is hard sometimes. Like if I could keep streaming until 3, then I'm like, oh, I can get all this yarn that I soaked. But this glitter one is one that I'm really curious about. The wool cotton one is also one I'm really, really curious about. I forget what else we'll put over there. So we will see. So I see, I love the Muse sock yarn. It's expensive, but so soft and vibrant colors when dyed. Oh, nice. Bare Felici, I love Felici. But you'll buy more Muse when you catch a sale. Yeah, Felici is more expensive than Stroll. I like Felici a lot. I like the higher twist. But Muse, like, it was nice. It was just, I think it's like $12. Like, you know, it's not an insignificant, you know, I think like one skein of Stroll without a wholesale, without any coupons is $8. And Felici might be $9. And Muse was over 10. So that was, you know, where it was. You solar dyed yesterday with Jacquard Periwinkle. It came out way more purple. I haven't played with Dharma Baby Blue yet, but Periwinkle is fairly like purplish. Hello, hello. Yeah, the difference between the webcam and then like the phone does a better job. Like I like streaming from my phone because I feel like it does better with colors. The problem is that I can't then have a good setup. Like I can't have a multi-camera setup. So when I stream on my phone, then I can't like come and talk to you directly. And so that is sort of the toss-up that I'm dealing with. But if you guys have any other random questions, feel free to ask. If you are just tuning in, welcome. This is the August 2020 ChemKnits Dial. Oh no, that's not. Nope, I want to move you. It is the August 2020 ChemKnits Dialogue live stream where we are dyeing yarn inspired by my mother-in-law's hydrangeas. And as I mentioned, I took these photos. I was there admiring these beautiful shady hydrangeas, and it made me think of Broken Violet and made me just want to play. And so this, for me personally, isn't as much of a color challenge as it is a fun challenge. But actually, now that I have the inspiration photo up, and I can compare it to the yarn, some of the yarn that we did, this pink is a little more vibrant, but it does go with the, like, it works. It works. Unfortunately, the webcam just does not do it justice. So it'd be interesting to twist a skein, dye with green, and retwist to dye with purples and pinks. Yes, that would be very beautiful as well. Purple pop breaks. So Julia says the purple pop breaks amazing when solar dyed. Purple pop will break if you look at it. It is extraordinarily difficult to get purple pop to not break. The blue pigments in there that make it more of a purple versus a fuchsia absorb way faster, and fluorescent colors, that fluorescent pink in there, takes such a long time to absorb that I don't think I've ever used purple pop where it has not broken. So I was not able to collect, like, I don't think my mother-in-law would have liked me to have clipped and collected the hydrangea flowers, unfortunately. And I will say that the pigment, these gorgeous pigments in there, in the sun, they bleach out. So that would not give me a lot of hope that that color would last onto yarn. So solar dyeing would be using the heat of the sun to dye your yarn. And I like to layer, and I've got some videos where I layer the dye in like a canning jar and set it outside for a couple days and let the color absorb. And sometimes you don't even need to heat set. If it's hot enough, then that could be enough. Sometimes I do things that are more like cool that I just happen to stick outside, and I still set them after the fact anyway, just to be sure. But I think letting the colors absorb slowly and spread out over hours is pretty fun. Where is my supply list posted? The tools and equipment I use the most are down in the video description. I usually have links to, say, my like catering steam pan, my nylon zip ties. I think I linked to Color Right. I think I have a link to Color Right there, and I might have a link to a few other things. I do have a blog post, my favorite tools and equipment for dyeing yarn, that has a lot of the stuff I use as well. Oh, cool. That's really cool. Okay, I need to get a drink because my throat is getting dry from talking. And where's that image? Let's go to the stove. Nope, I want stove on. I want OG off. Okay, I'm seeing movement. And yes, the stove is very yellow right now. I tried to shift the white balance so that way maybe you could see a hint more of the pinks. Otherwise, the yarn was just looking completely blue. But it's also looking dark. But for reference, I added this yarn to my Instagram story. And I cannot see my laptop very well to see it, but this is bright blue and that is very purple. So for reference. And I'm now coming and watching to see if it will pop over. Yarn is just looking completely blue. But it's also looking dark. But for reference, I added this yarn to my Instagram story. Yeah. And now you get a sense of the delay. Okay. I'm gonna put my gloves back on. And so this one is I have no idea what will happen. No idea at all. We've got 8 cups of water, 1 tablespoon of vinegar. I think I already added that vinegar. And we are going to dip dye this yarn that is all synthetic. This yarn, again, is 51% acrylic, 44% nylon, and 5% polyester. And I am optimistic And we've got an 1/8 teaspoon of white vinegar. I'm optimistic that we might see something bind because of the nylon. Now, seeing color soak in does not mean that it is binding. And ooh, that's looking cool. It's barber poling almost. It depends where the nylon is. And I have seen acrylic get stained with red number 3s before. But this is my first real time attempting this on a full synthetic. And I am seeing a lot of pinks in here so far. There's only 40 grams of this yarn. But like the silver, not the silver itself, but something that is like knit with it. Actually, the silver could be absorbing some color. I have seen with dip dyeing Broken Violet, I have seen Stellina take up a pink tinge before. But I'm still seeing more and more pink. I'm trying to go slow. But I definitely see a barber pole in here. It depends on what is the nylon content in here. So it's definitely getting bluer, and I'm still seeing pink. So I don't think, the silver might be taking on a bit of a pink tinge, but something, I think it depends on what is in there. But this looks so cool. So dipping that in, okay, I am going to put the whole thing in. We are going to add more vinegar right now. Add 3 tablespoons. I'm not sure how extreme broken this will feel, but there's no question that we have broken color. Here is a spoon. So there's still a fair amount of pigment left in there, but there is no question that there is a ply in here that must be the acrylic that you see almost no color go in. And then in the, I think in the Stellina or something, it's getting stained. But this is coming out super, super cool. And yeah, I'm not sure how much showed up on camera. But this is why I have a B-roll of what the yarn looks like in advance. And I will show that in the recap. So that's a big reason why I do the recaps that I do, so that way you guys can see. Oh, the solar dye with the purple pop, you got subtle lavender and subtle pinks. Oh, cool. That is really cool. So acrylics can melt. The problem with dyeing acrylic fiber and yarn is that in order to dye acrylics with, say, like a dye more synthetic, you need to use heat. And so it does end up changing the character of the yarn. It doesn't melt enough so that you end up with like a hardened lump, but it does deform a bit for sure. How do you get acrylic not to melt? Yeah, I don't think that there is a way to dye acrylic based yarns and not have it melt, because there isn't an appropriate, the only way to get acrylic not to melt is to not apply any heat, but to dye acrylic, you need to apply heat. So I assume if you're doing a wool acrylic blend, you could do some kind of solar dyeing, and then the acrylic wouldn't melt probably because it wouldn't get hot enough. But you wouldn't be dyeing the acrylic, you'd be dyeing the wool. So yeah, that is my thought. But even steaming acrylic, you see some melting. I mean, one way that you can block, and I don't know if I filmed a video on this or if I just wrote a blog post, but you can use steam to block acrylic yarn and kill the fiber, which is sort of like melting it a little bit. Or acrylic doesn't block because of the memory. So when you wet it, if you stretch it, that stretch isn't going to change the way the fibers are laying. And so then as soon as you unpin it, it'll snap back. But if you steam the yarn and warm it up a little bit, that sort of melts the fibers a little bit, and it removes then some of the tension from the block itself, and then it has that more memory. But once you do that, you can't get it to go back to the way it was before, because you've killed it. So there is that. But all right, I'm still waiting for the green one to cool, and I have a whole playlist of broken violet techniques, so even if I'm not able to do as much as I wanted to do today, there is that. But let me go and look at what I have, think about what I have else soaking. And the colors are making me so mad. So mad. Okay, so I've done the Superwash Merino Twist. We've done the Japanese glitter. I have soaked. Okay. I have another pot I can reset. I've got our Superwash Slub. I've got, okay, there are 4 choices for dip dyeing. I've got the Superwash Slub from Wool to Dye For. We've got the wool cotton 4-ply. We've got, that's 50-50 wool cotton. We've got the Bare Hair, which is wool and Angora. This one is not superwash. This, I expect we will be able to get to look really, really similar to this one. But then we also have the Silvery Sock from Dyer Supplier, which has 20% stellina. And that one could be interesting because I think we'd see the stellina pick up color like we saw a bit in the Japanese glitter, which still has a lot of pigment in it. Just checking in on it. That looks so cool. It looks unbelievably cool. I'm going to add, even though you guys are off camera, I'm going to add another tablespoon of white vinegar to it. So if there are any requests, the wool cotton, that is sort of my vote too. Thank you for watching, Sally. The wool cotton is pretty much my vote myself. Okay, so let's reset this pot. Normally, I wouldn't really want to do, quote, resets. But, okay, here's the other question. Do you want me to do the wool cotton with Wilton's Violet Icing color? Or should I do the wool cotton with, okay, I'll do the wool cotton next. Should I do that with Wilton's Icing color, or should I mix a purple from Color Right and do sort of like a custom purple that way? That's still red 3 and blue 1, but I'll just like have a little more control over the proportions and it'll be a slightly different purple. So let me know that down below. Oh, and the other reason, the big reason why I'm not doing two different skeins at the same time is with the different fiber content, things will absorb the dyes at different rates, and that will change the results that we see. With the cotton slub, I might save that one for the leftover dye and do that in the steam pan. Okay, I am going to set up. I just moved, nope, wrong thing. I moved the Japanese glitter aside. And so the slub might end up making it into the recap. Okay, so on the stove, both of these pots now have 8 cups of water and 1 tablespoon of vinegar. And one of them I'm going to do Dyer Supplier Silvery Sock, and the other one I will do the wool cotton. But I want to see what you guys said about the, okay, so Color Right seems to be the winner. All right, so let me get something. I've got a little cheat sheet. Nope, that's not what my cheat sheet is. Okay. Got a little cheat sheet here. It's going to be a spoiler, which I haven't edited. Okay. So, oh my gosh, you can see how non-purple these are showing up. So, this is a relationship between the blue 1, the red 3, and some proportions in between. So I think that this one, which maybe if I'm not on camera, you can see that it is actually this is actually a fairly perfect hydrangea-y purple. It looks way more blue on camera. It's way more pink in person. This was 3 drops pink to 1 drop blue. And so what we will do is let's mix our Color Right colors. Let's do, I'm thinking about how much total I want. Team Color Right, okay. So I know that more color will absorb well in the Silvery Sock. So let's do this. I don't feel the need to use warm water with Color Right. Let's go for 20 drops total. Okay, so over here, and this pink technically might have a little bit of color that's crashed at the bottom, so I'm going to use it anyway, holding my breath. But let's use 15 drops of pink. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then 5 drops of blue. And yes, if you guys didn't guess from that little spoiler I showed, I do have a Color Right color mixing triangle video in the works. And so I'm pulling this proportion directly from that video. Okay, so that is mixed up. This can go sit. Ooh. Okay, please don't leak water everywhere, Rebecca. Where's the green? Oh, it's all the way over here. How are we doing? Okay, the green yarn has cooled, so I'm going to actually get set up to use those sprinkles while we're waiting for the stove to heat up. It hasn't cooled completely per se, but it's cooled a reasonable amount. And this is the base that we created. So first thing I'm going to do is lay out some plastic wrap. And I will probably have to zoom out on here on the counter, so because I don't know why we're so zoomed. Settings, video, zoom. Zoom and tilt. zoom in a little bit. Tilt. There we go. Yeah, I will take a picture of it and post it on Instagram. The color that I picked, which is very broken, but also very, very purple. Although trying to get purples to show up well on many cameras is hard. So there's no question there's a lot of blue in it, but it is the one a little bit on top. And it'll be on Instagram in a second. I guess there's a little bit of a delay, so it might be there by the time you guys see it, but I'm going to try to circle it. Sorry, my phone is being slow. Here we go. Nope, I don't want. Okay. Just sort of quickly got that there. All right, so for the sprinkles, I'm going to lay down some plastic wrap so that way I can keep a little bit of a sprinkled gradient. And don't worry, I will shift the camera so that way you guys will all be able to see what is happening. But first, and I'm just at ChemKnits on Instagram. I should also have my profile linked on the Instagram profile linked down in the description. I wish that, well, not that like Facebook and Instagram don't really like YouTube, so because they, oops, yes, there we go. They suppress it. You love the triangle videos, yes. Another one. This color is not. This color that I'm showing is not one from the Summer Mini Skein mini series. This is a new triangle video in a slightly different proportion. Where I looked at just the blue, yellow, and pink. Ooh, okay, it's unraveled a tiny bit, and you can see there is this modeling in here, which is super, super fun. Now, the sprinkles that I'm going to be using are some DIY sugar sprinkles with Wilton's Violet. I don't remember the exact proportions, but they are the identical ones from the recent Die Cut Weekly video. And let's do, can I zoom out more? No. So let's raise, well, I mean, I can zoom out more. Manually. Okay, we're missing part of it, but you guys can see this side. So I'll do this side the heaviest and the other side the lightest. So the stove is heating up nicely. All right, the big thing for this is I want my gloves to be completely dry, which they are. Because if they are not dry, then this will not work very well. The goal is to use up most of these sprinkles. And let's start in the middle. I barely see them right now. I mean, I see it on there, but I'm not sure if it's going to show up on screen. I will zoom in a little bit. So what I'm curious is if this will feel like flower buds or what. So I am going to make sure that there is some at the lightest edge, and then we're going to go really heavy down at that side. But I want to start with at least some amount of coverage. And the fun thing here is that this blank is two 50-gram balls of yarn wound together. So when you unravel them, there's going to be like, you're going to get a matched pair of socks. Okay. Let's start going in heavier. I'm curious if like how broken this might feel, or if there could be, we've got a bunch of acid in the blank. And we're going even heavier. This is fun. Now, sugar in doing this kind of thing is not a concern because the sugar dissolves so well in water that it rinses out without any problem. Now, I am going mega heavy down here. I also have, people have been asking about this. There is a video coming up, I think in September, where I do DIY sprinkles using citric acid. So for everyone who is waiting on that, that is coming. And I don't yet necessarily see any breaking, but I am trying to work on this subtle gradient. And then go a lot heavier down here. So it is looking very just purple and green to me right now, but a lot of this hasn't yet started to really sink in, I don't think. So there is that. But it's always fun to combine the leave no dye behind with something else. Okay, that was a big clump right there, but you know, it is what it is, and that's the thing with match. Okay, I'm gonna rinse off my gloves into our leftover color, but just to show there's not, whoops, that much pigment on my gloves. So that is good. And our pots are about hot, which is also good. So I'm going to wait to try to zoom you guys in. I know this doesn't look like a lot, but actually, instead of zooming you in, I'm going to do the Instagram stories as well. Can you guys see Instagram stories if you're on the web and aren't signed in? Because I know some people don't want Instagram accounts, and so trying to be conscious of that. I'm going to take a picture of the blank. I'm going to take a current, well, the colors are weird if I do this. There we go. And I don't know if I see any break. Okay, if I go in fast, then the colors are fine. Otherwise, I don't like when the color, okay. Boom. The colors are a bit off. The green, actually, it's looking a little less bright. All right, the color in the close-up is not going to be very good. Okay, now I'll go to Instagram and add the stories. So the dye is still very much ooh, I'm starting to see some breaking. I see some breaking. It is mega subtle. Mega subtle. Let's see if I can find it on the camera. Okay, so it's like right there. There it is. I am going to share that on my Instagram stories as well, and I will try to circle it. Because there's no way I'll be able to get the, okay, that, and then, how do I draw? Here we go. That way you guys can see. That's so blue on camera. Yeah, you love the triangle. You have to be logged into Instagram to see stories. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah. Okay, but you can kind of see the gradient even if I'm very unhappy with the way that the colors are looking. But yeah, the colors are starting to go in. I'm now going to switch to the stove, okay, where we are heating. And will I be able to do it in the back one reasonably? Yeah, let's try. We'll try. Let's do the silvery sock first. My hypothesis is that I will see on the silvery sock, my hypothesis is that we will see the Stellina pick up some pink because that is what I've seen in the past. So, all right, here is our custom purple. Stir things up. Hopefully, I'm actually on the stove. Yes, I am on the stove. Okay. And let's come in with our silvery sock. Now, I'm curious about, I haven't dip dyed into this particular combination yet. I have a sense of our level of saturation that we will see based on what I've done before. And I also cannot lift it up all the way because I am a bit limited by the top of my stove. I'm not, ooh yeah, I'm seeing the Stellina pick up that color. I'm not seeing a ton of blues left, but this is very, very pink with very little blue, which I think will be really good for hydrangeas. But it's not going to have the same color intensity as what I had before. And I'm trying to be really, really slow to not lose some of that purple, but we want to try to get some of that blue in there as well. And now I'm going to come in with the more vinegar. With Stellina, you want to be careful without having it be too acidic because you don't want it to be too acidic because the colors might not be very happy. And the Stellina is absolutely picking up some pinks in there, and that's actually really beautiful. But you want, what was I saying? I like to use vinegar instead of citric acid so that way you don't get too much color. So that we don't get, too much acid and then dull the Stellina. Let me see. Okay. All right, let's do the wool cotton. This is 50% wool, 50% cotton. I wish you guys could see the colors better, but I'm glad to do this on a live stream because I'll be able to show this in the recap side by side. When I'm doing new, quote, new and different yarn bases, violet is a place I like to start because I know how that works. Now, this is a custom purple versus Wilton's violet. I know how these colors break, so I'm comfortable with that. Just actually, and the hues look very, very similar. It's just the pigmentation will be different. So this is going to be an interesting one because the color overall I expect will be less pigmented than what we see on the silvery sock, even though both of them have the exact same amount of dye. But in general, blends can feel a little more heathered and a little more muted. It depends on how the fibers are blended together. I think I did Delphinium Blue on Galileo, which is, I think 50% merino, 50% viscose from bamboo. Is this superwash? I don't know if this is superwash. And I cannot see the chat at the moment. Let's check on the color. So I like to look at the color that is still fairly purpley. But we are getting into the blue territory, but you can see, and maybe you guys can't, but when I dip in, there's blue. So as I hold it up, the blues sort of stream back out. And that is good conditions for color breaking because you're seeing the pinks bind and those blues just aren't binding yet. So the more you can get all the pinks, and there's that bright blue finish, the more you can get all the pinks to bind before adding in all the yarn, the more likely you are to get a blue rather than a purple. A lot of times I will wait, and then I will wait to, a lot of times I might wait 10 minutes to add vinegar, but I'm really trying to capture these blues, so I wanted to give it a little bit of an advantage. So to me, these feel less pigmented than if I used my typical violet concentration. So I won't be able to compare these specifically to Wilton's Violet, and that has cleared. That is beautiful. But we can compare the mixture and the tones and think like, oh, is this, how similar is it? Now, back on a burner you can't see, I'm going to turn off the heat. We've got our Japanese glitter, and this is stunning. I don't know if they'll rinse out, but I see the blue and the violet. The nylon absolutely picked up the color. This has no natural fibers in it. This is the first time I have tried 100% synthetic fiber, and I cannot wait to show you guys this closer. There's a little bit of blue left in here. I'm gonna let the yarn cool off in here completely. This has blown me away. I cannot express adequately how excited I am about that glitter yarn. It is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Okay, now over here, a lot of the color has not yet sunk in, but I am tempted to go and add some heat. But we are going to see, there's no question to me that we will see broken violet speckles on here, even as some of this sugar is going to stick to this little jelly roll I am creating. But by pressing it, I'm hoping to help those colors go in. And we are going to steam set this in the microwave. So I am going to microwave this on high for 2 minutes and then check it, and then another 2 minutes until it's hot to touch. What we don't want is for the sugar to like caramelize. That would be bad. I have not done that before. It could happen, I suppose. It could definitely happen. I'm checking in on the other dip dyed yarn. The wool cotton looks great. So as I started this, and I'm coming up with, I guess I'll hide that and I'll show my face. As I mentioned at the beginning, you cannot dye cotton with food coloring. But there's an asterisk there. And the same with synthetics. If you have a blend, it works. I started off my dyeing journey with 80% acrylic, 20% wool. And the colors were fairly pastel. You can see one of the first colorways I ever did, comparing that 80-20 acrylic wool base to a 100% wool base in Dye Cut Weekly number 35. But it's possible, you just won't get as bright colors. So, let me see. How does Stellina hold up to sockwear? I'm not the best person to ask that because I don't wear socks. But on shawlettes, the Stellina holds up really, really well. I'm not much of a sock knitter because I don't wear socks. But I hope, and of course now that we're in August, the holidays are coming up, I should really try to knit Keith's socks this year. He would really, really like hand knit socks. Yes, the pictures on Instagram are much more vibrant. I did not add a filter to them. It's just a picture I snapped with my phone, trying to get as, just as close to like what I see with eye, with color balance. It is these webcams, they do a lot of things really, really well. Some things that are less good are the ambient background noise that they pick up from my kitchen, and then just the colors aren't as great, but I haven't seen like a good alternative. Your dog is helping you type, that's amazing. So some added portable lights would help with the colors. And yes, where my stove is. So my stove is against a wall, and there's about 3 feet in between my counter and the refrigerator. So there isn't, I have softbox lights, and I use those at the end of my videos to try to have like bright light to have good consistent for colors. But there's not good space, even if I were to try to bounce the lights off the ceiling, because half of the stove is under the counter in the microwave, and then on the other side there's not space for the tripod with the light, and then me nearby. So it is a difficult, we need to replace the microwave, and so having the light above the microwave I think would help a lot again. But yeah, if I have and when I have the softbox in here, I usually would have it close to where I'm sitting over here, and so then I've got, the things around the stove are fairly cramped. It makes it really hard. I'm able to have the tripod up on a camera. Occasionally I try to have the tripod on the ground so you can see more of the stove, and then I really have to like lean around it. So someday I'd love to design my own filming space. I think the channel would have to grow like a lot in order for me to be able to like afford to have like a dedicated filming space. But that is my dream, is to have a place where like I could film and maybe teach classes or something. That's like my big dream. But yeah, I mean, I can't even hire another person to help right now, so I can't afford a space. But yay, yes, I'm actually live right now. Welcome, Julie. See, I'm actually live. But okay. I'm gonna go check on the microwave. But I basically just wanted an excuse to play with Violet today. Okay, that is fairly hot. Have I only done it once? Let's just do 1 more minute. So I've lost track of time a bit, as is known to happen when I am live streaming. But yes, okay, so let's do some announcements. This weekend I'm going to have a heavy filming weekend. I have a lot of editing to do, but I'm going to have a huge chunk of time on my own. And as I mentioned earlier, I am going to try to film as much as I possibly can in August. Because once school starts, which, for my eldest, the most in person that we would possibly get, and there's still a lot pending on whether or not that's going to happen or whether or not we would opt to send him. The most that he'd have in person would be 2 mornings a week, which would make a lot of things hard. And then it's unclear how much assistance, parental assistance, the remote portions of school will require, because he's going into 1st grade. So I'm trying to film as much as I can now, so that way I can, if there's time for me to work, like editing is probably something that might be more manageable while he's Zooming, unless I can have him on headphones, but he's still going to be talking. And so, yeah, that is something that I am concerned about for the fall. So part of me wants to do like a big epic live stream and play with a bunch of stuff, because I really, really missed having the time to do that. But I also know I want to I'm working on Hanukkah. I'm not sure when pre-orders, I don't have a date when pre-orders will be available. That will be The latest that pre-orders for Hanukkah will be, for the Hanukkah samplers, will be early September. So I'm working on that. I've actually dyed, so technically there's 8 nights of Hanukkah, but I dye enough yarn for there to be equivalent of 10 nights. And I think I've dyed, and the like 9th and 10th are usually like leave no dye behinds or yarn mops from the videos. I guess I've done an equivalent of maybe 6.5 out of 10. So I've dyed 5 full nights and most of the extras. So that's going well. The Selena has definitely picked up a pink for sure. Does the blue and purple dye always strike slower, or can you get a pink? That's a very good question. Sometimes if you have a lot of acid, you can end up with a slight pink halo. Otherwise, you will see, like, at low or moderate acid, the blues strike slower. At high acid, and I don't have a cutoff for that. I don't have a good number for where that happens. But in times with higher acid, sometimes, and I'm always confused when this happens, I will see the purples have be purple with a little bit more of a pink halo. And I am always confused when that happens, but I am now more confident that it's when I have a much higher amount of vinegar present. And because maybe some of the pinks start to crash out, but then based on concentration, they go back in. I don't have a good scientific explanation, just hypotheses. And in an upcoming video, I will be talking about that. So yeah, okay, so that's Hanukkah. So that's coming soon. And there'll be a lot more Hanukkah samplers. I'm not sure how many I will release at first. What I'm going to do this year is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to start off by releasing full 8-night sets. And then after I have those shipped out, then I will release a handful more full sets, and then a handful of, probably half 4-night sets, depending on how things shake up. Since I don't only dye from they're 10-gram skeins. I don't only just dye 10-gram skeins. Sometimes I dye full skeins in various ways and then make the minis myself. And so there's always a chance that, when you break 100 grams down, maybe because maybe if you make one 11 grams, you might not end up with 10 minis. So I always underestimate the total number of samplers I can create for the original listing, and then list more later on once I start shipping. So that is sort of how that will go down. And when I launch that and come on live to announce what's going on, I will go into that as well. Oh, thank you, Gretchen. I'm glad you loved the summer mini skein mini series. So yeah, Hanukkah is definitely going to be more of a sampler. There's some themes that I've got planned for the 8 nights, but the colorways, while they're the same yarn base, so they could work together, it's not necessarily defined as a fade project. So it's a little different, but 8 nights, 8 techniques, 8 videos, and so it's fun. Other announcements, Knit Crates dive into dyeing. I am still waiting. When we launched, it was supposed to be, when we announced it, it was supposed to be in a couple days, or soon, and it's still soon is the word I have. It's out of my control. I filmed the videos for them a year ago, and then have been being patient as much as I can. So the videos are now out on the Knit Crate YouTube channel. Once the kit launches, as part of my promotion responsibilities, I will be putting a playlist on my channel of the videos in a reasonable order. Hello?
Mommy, I'm just getting the joystick.
You're gonna get the joystick so you can do some Star Wars?
No, actually, with Star.
Yes, actually, yes, that's Star Wars. Okay, where's the joystick? Oh, I think it's by the washing machine, honey.
Okay.
In the green tub by the washing machine.
I think so. I think so.
Okay, so dive into dyeing. This dye subscription with Bare Yarn and dyes, and citric acid and other stuff. It's coming. Believe me, as soon as it's out, I will shout it from the rooftops. But you can technically go watch the videos now. So Dyer Supplier has the yarn. I think that it's, I don't know. Yeah, there's learning curve, and I've learned a lot about, like, a larger Dyer Supplier and Knit Crate are still, like, small compared to, like, a lot of companies out there, but they're like way bigger than me, and so learning a lot about just the way that things can work and sourcing and stuff like that has been pretty fun. Yes, but when it launches, use the code ChemKnits20 if it's your first Knit Crate purchase, or on one of my recent videos, I have my affiliate links there. So I will say that they, from this point forward, my compensation is based on, like, my affiliate and, like, referring the sales that way, so for commission. But they did compensate me for the videos that I made for them separately. So don't worry, we've had a very, very mutually beneficial arrangement. Oh, thank you, Diana. Yeah, no, I've been, like, watching the website myself. So the news there is I have no news. And I was like, are we ready? Are you guys ready? And they're like, yeah, we're ready. I'm like, okay, so yeah, we'll announce. And then they're like, oh, hold on. But anyway, okay, so there's that. Did I have other announcements? Oh, I posted in the ChemKnits Lab Facebook group about this, and I posted right before I went live, so I haven't seen what people said. I currently offer, like, viewer-sponsored episodes of Dye Pot Weekly, and I want to basically keep those the same, but change what it's called, and not so that way I can differentiate for real when a video is sponsored by a company, or like even like a small company, like someone's Etsy shop or Ravelry shop, because those sponsorships have been where I've been compensated to direct people to go check out their shop, versus when it's a viewer sponsorship, I'm giving a shout out and a thank you to the individual for supporting the content and for making the video possible, but they're an individual versus a company, so it's not like there's a financial relationship, which I wanted to disclose, but there's not a commercial relationship because I'm not selling or endorsing anything from the individual. And so I think that for, like, FTC reasons, I need to change the word. My Knit Crate coupon code is ChemKnits20 for Knit Crate. And I just popped that in the chat as well. So the Paradise Fibers box, that should ship fairly quickly, but I would reach out to them and ask. They're usually fairly prompt with the boxes. But anyway, so for Dye Pot Weekly, I've been calling it Dye Pot Weekly sponsorship for individuals, and so I think I need to change that. The word that I think makes the most sense would be to somehow talk about patron or patronage of some kind. And so the problem is that there's also a Patreon, and I don't want that to be too confusing, but maybe it's not, because viewers can be patrons through Patreon, or you can be a patron, and maybe I'd call it like a super patron of a video, and that's available on versus a continual basis like Patreon. It's like a one-time basis through Etsy. And so if you're in ChemKnits Lab on the Facebook group, weigh in on that if that would be confusing, and if I would say, like, today's video is possible because of super patron so-and-so, thank you so much, super patron, for supporting the content. I might change it like that to try to still make the relationship clear and to give you like, I mean, it is still sort of sponsoring a video, but for backing, financing, contributing to the content, I still want to be able to give that huge thank you and credit in the video. But I think I just need to change the language so it's a little bit clearer. So the reason why I thought about super fan. The reason why I want like something like patron in there because of the like to indicate that there was like that they really did like financially support the content in a way, and so that's why I used sponsored before, because that's what like I had started off doing. So I could do lab assistant. Right. So yeah, it's hard. Because yeah. So I want something that would feel clear to people because I'm not sure everyone who wants to sponsor the video knows that I want to make it as obvious to someone what it means. Because if I'm like lab assistant, they might not know what that necessarily means. So I want to be it. I want it to be obvious, but still feel like the people who are signing up for that feel sufficient credit. But I do like lab assistant, but right. So it's hard because the creative control for most of the videos is all still it's hard. Like terminology and stuff is hard. And I keep going and I look for synonyms for like sponsor or patron or even like producer and like stuff. But the thing is like the fear with like producer credit is because the producer implies like content direction, and so that's why like I've just been struggling with those words. So that's why supporters, yeah, like because I'd like to think this. So yeah, maybe I should make a poll in the lab. I just did like a stream of consciousness there, but maybe a poll is the way to do. So like today's like I could do like super supporter, but I don't know. Like the word that I was leaning to was patron, but then like it just feels, why can't Patreon change their name and make it easier? Like if there wasn't Patreon, then I would pick patron, because like when you're a patron of an artist, like you're helping them get their like tools and equipment and stuff like that, right? So right. So that's why I think that if I used the word patron, what I would do on the Patreon introduction is say like, because ChemKnits patrons can get shout outs as well. There's various levels, and on Dipop PS where they get those shout outs. And so that's why I couldn't just do patron. I'd have to do like super patron and stuff. Lab patron. Yeah. So lab patron might work better than like super patron. And then I can just make it clear in the Patreon. Because so on Patreon, which there's links in the description, so at various levels, patrons get coupons off the whole Etsy shop. So basically they could get a discount on what I've currently called Dipop Weekly sponsorship. Say this episode is funded by lab assistant so-and-so. Ah, yeah, but for the science reason, then you'd say like grant. So today's grant manager, but that still seems weird, so there's not, I like lab patron. Uh-oh. Not that uh-oh. Oh, funny. Okay. Yeah, so lab partner. Lab partner is good. I like lab partner. But the problem is that like the thing that I want to be. So what I don't want to do is whenever someone actually comes and presents an idea to me, I try to give them credit for the creative idea. But so I want to be careful about like not assigning creative. It, yeah. So this is like the line that I'm doing. But I think that I make it clear when like someone comes to me with a specific idea and request, I try to give them credit for that idea and experiment and things like that. But lab partner. I think lab patron or lab partner might be cool. So the way that the current like viewer sponsored videos have worked is that I don't start filming. This is now a second question. The way that this currently works is that a viewer would be the like lab patron, super patron, lab partner, whatever we're going to call it in the video. They tell me colors that they want to avoid. They pick the yarn base, and then I design it like based on the colors and the base that they select. I design a video from that, and I film it after that purchase from the viewer. There's been a lot more demand for these slots than I've been able to keep up with. And at the same time, I've also been, as I've said, pre-filming a lot of content for like the rest of the year because I don't know what things are going to be like. Would people have any interest in like the like patronizing, that sounds bad, of becoming the patron or lab partner or something of a video that has not yet been edited but has already been filmed? That would allow me to open up some more slots and add a little more flexibility in there. But it would be more like I could either set it up so that way people could pick the actual like video that they want me to jump the queue that I have filmed, but is sitting. Sometimes videos sit waiting to be edited in a folder for a long time. So I don't know if that's something people would be interested in. Lab partner, contributor. So, okay, lab partner seems pretty fun. But yeah, so if this other thing, it might be something that I might try, and I wouldn't open it before I open the next. Maybe we'll go with lab partner slots. So this part. And you're in a biophysics lab technician listening to the live stream. Yeah, great timing. Awesome. Yeah, so lab partner works. I think that's a fun one. So anyway, those are things that I've been ruminating over and like I've definitely written down about making the change. And I will make clear in the description that this listing was formerly known as Dipot Weekly sponsorship. But for like disclosures, like I think YouTube is going to anything with like a disclosure, they're going to start saying like this includes like paid promotion by, and for some reason, even though there's been like a purchase and a contribution there, I'm not actually promoting it just like feels odd. So the one thing I will say is, so I sometimes accept, like sponsorships from brands or whatever, and for even small shops, I would not have I suppose things would, I would never have like a lab partner and a sponsor on the same video. So I would have that be like distinct. I still mention like affiliate links and stuff, but like if there would be a lab partner for that video, then like I wouldn't also like accept like a sponsorship from like someone else's Etsy shop or something for that same video. Yeah. So you think that's contributor. Yeah. Right. Well, so Andy, but the thing that I worry about with the word partner is that in some cases there is very much like a partnership in that like someone comes and be like, hey, I have this question. Would you be interested in doing this as a die cut weekly? And so sometimes there really is that like back and forth and discussion about the colorway and stuff. And other times it is, hey, I really liked this video that you did, like, or like, hey, I really, really don't like orange, but I like every other color. And so then I sort of run with it. But I love calling it lab partner because I am very much thinking about, and especially if it's someone that I've seen comment on a lot of videos, then I can sometimes have a little sense of like, okay, I know this person really, really liked this particular video and this colorway. Or if it's someone who has purchased yarn from me in the past, I might go and look at the yarn that they purchased to get a sense of what they've picked out and have liked. And so there's some amount of that. But yeah, I'm liking lab partner because it also sort of goes with like the whole chemistry thing. So, because partner, because you're both getting something out of it. The lab partner is getting shout outs and then the yarn that I'm dyeing. And so I guess also there is a creative partnership no matter what, because they're getting the yarn and they're turning the yarn into something amazing. And that's the part of the partnership. It's all this partnership on handcraft and hand creation. I'm liking lab partner more and more and more. I'm curious what the lab group is going to say, but yeah, and now I'm curious and want to go look. Yes, lab partner seems to be the favorite in live chat now. But let's see what other suggestions there were. So supporter, backer, contributor. There's a lot of things. So this episode of Sesame Street has been brought to you by viewers. Yeah, I like that. Of like public television funding for today's. Yes, it does feel that. I like the term viewer backer or even just backer, simpler. Super fan instead of super patron. Sponsor for this week's research, or research funding by. Oh, I like research funding by. Lab partner's a little more fun, but research funding by is silly. Advocate, benefactor, viewer's choice episode, lab partner. Yeah, okay. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. The yarn, I've taken the yarn out of the microwave, but thank you. Otherwise it would have kept beeping. Let me show, it's sitting there on the counter. Okay, I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna see how warm that is, and we'll get back to the yarn. But thank you all so much for chatting with me about this. This was very, very helpful. Okay, I don't think you can see, but I see broken color. I see bright blues and I see purples. This is cool. This is really cool. Okay, it's not cool enough for me to open up, but let's go check the stove. I will be washing everything off camera. Research funded by lab partner. Especially because it's experiments. Like, I'll play with it, but I really appreciate you all being open, especially because there are a number of you in the chat who have been Die Cut Weekly sponsors in the past, and so I really, really appreciate hearing all of your suggestions. Okay, this is our wool cotton, but I don't know if you can tell how much color that our nylon has absorbed. Whoa! That was not the zip tie, that was just the tongs. That has cleared. I don't know if you guys can see the pink on the Scalina. there, but that has cleared as well. And our sparkle, our glitter, that is almost cleared. This one is the winner. This is the winner. I don't even know if that's still available. I think it was like, I'm going to turn off all the stovetops. I think it was a limited edition run. Nope. Where's me? There's like, or not like, there are about 12 buttons that I can toggle on and off for everything to run these. But I'm going to look for Japanese glitter. Yarn. And I think that it's probably not available anymore. Because the first response was not Knitpicks. I see it on Ravelry, but I think it's gone. That's too bad. Yeah, it's discontinued. That is too bad. Too bad. Because that was fun. So Gretchen, you're always trying to sponsor an episode. They're always sold out. Yeah, so that's the reason why I think the next time I restock it, which I try, so I have limited slots at a time, and which I've actually almost completely filmed the one. I just have to edit. So I try to like release new ones as I edit and schedule old videos, but then they started going so fast that I then try to bank it. So that way I can open more than one slot at a time, for that way the people who are I message on the waiting list, so then there's more of a chance that there would be one available. But so this is why I think I think that I might do, in addition to the and I will make it very, very clear if I do the lab, if I do a lab partner, and I'll be clear, like, this video has not yet been filmed, or in this video I will insert, this video has been filmed but not edited, and I will insert special thank yous to you at the beginning and end of the video. But in the case where the video has already been filmed, the lab partner can pick which video they want to partner. And so I'll give a little info like, oh, it was, well, that's something I just did. Okay, so like if it were the neon speckles, it would be like neon speckles, and then I would have details in the description of like, the type of base that it could be and stuff like that. And then I might have an option of just complete surprise as well. So, research funded, yeah. But yeah, saying today's research was funded by our lab partner, so-and-so. I like, and then I can call it like a lab partnership on Etsy research. Awesome. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much. This was fun. It was fun to play with Violet. It's always fun to hang out and chat. I greatly appreciate all of your support for this content. And as things have been more wild and and me moving to doing more of the streams in the morning, which honestly, my brain works better in the mornings, and it is way easier for me to do it in the mornings than the evenings. But I hope, like, tomorrow's going to be a massive editing day. I have a lot to edit. A lot to edit, but I'm really excited to film this recap because I think that we got some really amazing results, even if my favorite results of the day are of a discontinued yarn base. I think there might be some on eBay, but this is our first time that I have really tried dyeing nylon specifically. So You like the idea of completed videos? Yeah, so the videos, there would still be like some lag time because I'd still have to edit the videos, but at least like the yarn is already dry, or the yarn is already dry, or you know, the maybe I haven't filmed the conclusions yet, but at least, you know, it opens up some space. And then also the partner, the research backer, whatever we're gonna call it, they will get to you know, shift, move, like I will like shift that up the queue for editing, even though like, you know, I might be working on the schedule for October at this point, it still will bring things up. And so I think that that is fun. And so we'll try that out. We will try that out. But anyway, I am going to sign off. Thank you all. I think I still have a little bit of yarn that is wet. I might film that on the DSLR to include in the recap. Just to have like a little bit of dyeing in there as well. I have the leftover dye, which I think I'm going to use on that slub yarn because I think that that would be fun. But then I might dip dye the bear hair because I'm curious. But anyway, if you would like to be featured in the recap for this video, and oh no, that's not. Okay, let's move me. If you would like to be featured in the recap for the August ChemKnits Dye-Along live stream and have your colorways featured in that video, all you have to do is dye some yarn inspired by this photo right here, and then tag your photo with the hashtag ChemKnits Dye-Along on Instagram, or reply to this photo on the public Facebook page, on the public ChemKnits Facebook page. Just reply with a photo comment, and then I will pick a bunch to include in the recap. You don't have to use Wilton's Violet. You don't have to use food coloring. You can use whatever dye type, fiber content, technique you want. It's fun to just see how many different variations we can get based on one photo. The one note is that if you reply to this picture in the ChemKnits Lab Facebook group, your pictures are going to be kept private by default, because we have a policy in the group of not sharing things within the group outside of the group for people's privacy. So if you want to privately share the picture with me and with a lot of the community, but not get it featured in the video, then that's a good place to do it. So there is that. And I really love, like, I love going through the pictures of the yarn that you dyed. That is one of my favorite parts of this whole dye-along series, and the thing that makes it so worth it to me is just seeing how, like, there's such a range in the community of people that submit photos, of people who are newer dyers starting off, playing around. There's some people that sometimes are more established in creating colorways as well, and it is just really, really fun to get that mix of experience and dye types and fiber contents all into one. And so I think that that's really, really fun. Oh man, I'm realizing I have not yet made a schedule for the week. I need to make a schedule because I think I'm going to have tomorrow night, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and a good chunk of Sunday. And I am going to try to film as much as I possibly can. That is my goal. But also maybe take a little time to just breathe. But I've started running out of memory card space because I have so much raw footage. I don't delete raw footage off of my memory cards until I have finished editing the video, because it's just another backup in case of a computer meltdown. Speaking of which, I need to order a new computer. That is another goal of mine. Oh, thank you, Andy. But anyway, I am going to head out, figure out some lunch, and I'm expecting to hear a thunder of kids run down the stairs in a minute, because sometimes they watch the end of the streams, so I have no idea if they're actually watching right now. If you are, hi kids. But anyway, all right, everyone. thank you so much for watching. Got so many links in the description to check out, but I greatly appreciate all you do to support things here. And so thank you so much. Oh, subscribe! Subscribe! Bye, everyone.